Obedience is better than what? Sacrifice. Now, the next question is, now they start Genesis chapter, chapter 22. We are going to read from verse 1 up to verse 18. A good reader can read for us Genesis chapter 22 from verse 1 to verse 18.
It says, after these things God tested Abraham and said to him, Abraham, and he said, here am I. He said, take your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and go to the land of Moriah and offer him there as a burnt offering upon one of the mountains of which I shall tell you. So Abraham rose early in the morning, saddled his ass, and took two of his young men with him and his son Isaac. And he cut the wood for the burnt offering, and arose and went to the place of which God had told him. On the third day, Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place afar off. Then Abraham said to his young men, stay here with the ass, and I and the lad will go yonder and worship, and come again to you. And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it on Isaac his son. And he took in his hand the fire and the knife. So they went both of them together. And Isaac said to his father Abraham, my father. And he said, here am I, my son. He said, behold, the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering? Abraham said, God will provide himself the lamb for a burnt offering, my son. So they went both of them together. When they came to the place of which God had told him, Abraham built an altar there, and laid the wood in order, and bound Isaac his son, and laid him on the altar, upon the wood. Then Abraham put forth his hand, and took the knife to slay his son. But the angel of the Lord called to him from heaven, and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, here am I. He said, do not lay your hand on the lad, or do anything to him. For now I know that you fear God, seeing you have not withheld your son, your only son, from me. And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him was a ram, caught in a thicket by his horns. And Abraham went and took the ram, and offered it up as a burnt offering instead of his son. So Abraham called the name of that place, the Lord will provide, as it is said to this day, on the mount of the Lord it shall be provided. And the angel of the Lord called to Abraham a second time from heaven, and said, by myself I have sworn, says the Lord, because you have done this, and have not withheld your son, your only son. I will indeed bless you, and I will multiply your descendants as the stars of heaven, and as the sun which is on the seashore. And your descendants shall possess the gate of their enemies. And by your descendants shall all the nations of the earth bless themselves, because you have obeyed my voice. So Abraham returned to his young men, and they arose and went together to Beersheba.
From verse 17.
I will indeed bless you, and I will multiply your descendants as the stars of heaven, and as the sun which is on the seashore, and your descendants shall possess the gate of their enemies. And by your descendants shall all the nations of the earth bless themselves, because you have obeyed my voice.
Amen. Thank you. What command did God give Abraham? What command did God give Abraham?
Yes, God gave command to Abraham that take his son, only his son Isaac, whom he loved, and go to the land of Moriah and offer him as a burnt offering.
Amen. Is that one correct?
Yes.
Who has any other answer? Yeah, so the command that God gave Abraham was that he should go, he should take his only son Isaac, the one he loves. His only son Isaac, the one he loves. Okay? So that he may go and offer it as a burnt offering. You see, God actually began from the stage based on the belief system during those times. You see, Abraham came from a family where people were worshiping idols. Before God called him, he was an idol worshiper. And they used to offer human sacrifices. So God actually began by tempting him based on his basic knowledge he knows about faith, okay? About issues of religion. So God began from there so that you may take him to where he himself has planned to take him. Now, question 2, how did Abraham respond to the commands? How did Abraham respond to the commands? How did Abraham respond to the command? Yes? So you have to describe the action he took. That is what I'm talking about. The action. In stepwise. You see, in theory there is a way you describe and you get 10 marks, is it? Like you're told describe the call of Abraham. Then there is a way you have to organize your points to get 10 marks. So I want you to describe the action stepwise. Yes. So that one is the holistic aspect of his response. So you have to put your point or your explanation in that manner. Yes?
Abraham rose.
No, talk loudly.
Abraham rose in the morning and took his ass and 2 of his young men with him and his son Isaac. And he cut the wood for the burnt offering, and rose and went to the place of which God had told him.
So he took what? Number one? He took? He took his son. What is an ass? A donkey. A donkey or a donkey? Donkey. Okay. And then the next one is, what else? Eh? 2 of his young men. 2 of his young men. And then? And then? Then he did? Okay. So Abraham obeyed the voice of God. He took his only, the one he loved. He loved. Now, the next question, question 3. Suppose you are Abraham, what could you have done? Just be sincere. Suppose you are Abraham, at that old age, the only son, God promised you a son, wewe umekaa tu, you are 20s, you are 30s, you are 40s, hakuna mtoto, you are 50s, you are 60s, hakuna mtoto, you are 70s, hakuna mtoto, mpaka umefika 100 years. Ndio sasa Mungu anakubariki na mtoto wa kwanza, na huyo mtoto ndiye anakuambia sasa uende utoe sadaka. Sasa, if you are Abraham, what could you have done? Just be sincere. Just be honest. So you have to tell us what you could have said in your heart even before you spoke. Then what could they have told God, and then maybe what could you have done? Yes, as an individual. Yes, just be honest, be sincere. What could you have told God, and then what response? Or how could you have acted or reacted? You could have refused. So ungesema or what could you have done? You could have said choose another person. So you could have said that another person, yes. You sasa you could have run away, mnaenda wapi? So you run away with your only son. Then unampata unamwambia mwanangu sikutoi. You could have said like that. Mwanangu nakuhenza sikutoi. Ungemwambia hivyo kisha ukakimbia ukaenda wapi? Another person. Yes. What would you have done? It is you are not a real God. If you have said you God, you are singing for me. You are singing for me. You give me one son, now you are taking it. You God, you. Stop yours. You could have told God to stop me. God, you are singing for me. Okay, now the next question. So naturally as a human being, ungekuwa na uzito, sio? Moyo mzito. Hata kama ungekubali ungefanya shingo upande. Now the next question is what was God's reaction to Abraham's obedience? What was God's reaction to Abraham's obedience? What was God's reaction to Abraham's obedience? How did God react? Yes? Yes? Yes. Number one, it's not about blessing. There's something God did. Yes. He told Abraham not to slay his son, but instead God did what?
He provided.
God provided what? A ram. And in this case, as Christians, the ram is the Lamb of God, Jesus. That one was just symbolic of what Christ would do. Because man obeyed, so God had to do it in the real sense. Old Testament is just a foreshadow of the new covenant. Yeah, so number one, God provided a lamb for the sacrifice. And then after that, God did what? God said, blessings indeed, I will do what? I will bless you. And even make him a great nation. So there were so many blessings. So this one, we really learned that out of obedience, when you obey the voice of the Lord, there is always a reward. Even if God has instructed you to do something that seems very difficult, but as long as it is the word of the Lord that is saying, you have just to do it by faith. And then when you do it by faith, now God will take over from there. You understand that? So, a part that says that God told Abraham to offer his only son, the one